back here at my little table after a hot shower and a shampoo, and this is why you don't see the rest of me, but I wanted to give you an update. I know I had to just go ahead and make up some flowers, and if you have your stash, like you know what fabrics you're going to use, then go ahead and start making your flowers. I'm waiting to start stitching them together until I know how I want them to be arranged. The other thing I wanted to show you was the binding came in, and I am so excited. Is it upside down? There, yes. So this is what I ordered for Little Dot's quilt, and I just was so excited that that Strawberry Thief had just gotten these in. They had just made them up. I don't know. I guess they made them up and offered them on the website. So I snagged them, and I have been getting, I think the colors were perfect to go with this. So it's close enough. But what I had learned on before I did this, I had some Liberty of London binding I had purchased years ago, and I had it rolled up on a spool, a wooden reel, and I made this little quilt this summer for the little dollhouse, for the dolly bed, for little Lula Kate, one of my storybook characters. And this was using the 1/2-inch hexies. I mentioned it before in my last episode. So I used pieces of an old handkerchief, and I had an old quilt, and I cut pieces from that old quilt. I mean, it was tattered. And so I kind of had to glue the pieces. They're so fragile, glued them onto the little papers and just stitched with the papers in there. Then this is from probably the 1930s, these fabrics and the little handkerchief. And that green was the perfect green from that time period. Well, then when I was looking at my fabrics from Strawberry Thief, the Liberty of London with the it's Alice in Wonderland, that green, it was the perfect green. So I finished it out, and then I used some vintage muslin from an old quilt. I recycle, so when I find something that's beyond use, then it can be still be put to use. So that's what I had created. So I thought, well, I'll practice doing the binding on that. And I had come across a tutorial, it was a brief, how to do the binding, and I can't even bear to show you this up close. It was a start. I was learning to miter the corners and how I got the placement. And this, I actually was able to hand stitch this tiny one, but it still wasn't to my liking, to what I learned by the time I got to this. So, if you have to practice on something doll-sized or bear-sized or child-sized, so that you're ready then to move up to a larger scale. And I'm working my way up from 1/2 inch. There you go, 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. And this will be for my character, my storybook character, Really Old Bear. And I'm just gonna love that. I think if I could get that ready for Valentine's Day, I would be so excited, because the reds and pinks, it's just so sweet. So what I wanted to show you was how far I got. Like, this came yesterday when the family was over, my son and daughter-in-law and little Dorothy. So she snuggled and napped with her blanket, and this came in. And so as soon as they left, I started stitching. And I've gotten like half down one side, across this side, and working my way down here. But I thought I would show you what I'm learning. The biggest tip was, so you lay it down the right side to the back of your quilt. And I'm hand stitching. I have a machine over there, a clackety machine. Yes, you saw part of me. There's my hair up wet. I could do it by that machine, but it just kind of gets a runaway and goes so fast that it makes me nervous. So I have hand stitched to get this binding down. And then when I got to the corner, I did a little pinch here. and then I stitch right to that line where it creases over. I stitched right to there, ran my thread through to the other side, keeping this pinched. And y'all may know this already. I'm just for those of you that are novices and we're learning together. And then picked up and kept going. Now what it's going to do when you get ready to fold that over, look at that. So it will make that miter there. And then I'm going to fiddle with it over on this side. And I'll whip stitch this down, and there's a crease there, so I'll have to do some ironing. I'm afraid I did that out of the where you couldn't see it. But when I just want you to see, this is where the stage I'm at. I've got to get this thing finished before I see them again on Saturday, and then they'll be going home. They've moved up north, and it snows there in the state. They're a couple of states away. So it's snowing there and cold, and so I wanted her to have her snuggly blanket to go home with her. So I'm making great progress on that, and I'm really excited. And so I've just been kind of overwhelmed at y'all have been so responsive and so left such kind and lovely comments and messages. And I've had so many of you say that you're going to pull out your hexies now and you're going to get started. And I'm so glad that you are. And I had someone said, "Oh, when are you going to do one for yourself? Because this was for the doll, this is for the bear, this is for Dot, and this one will be for me." And the reason I'm waiting and sitting on my hands, if I didn't have other projects, I'd be sitting on my hands, because I want to wait till the other fabrics come in before I start making any more flowers. I have lots of hexies made up with this, but I want to have the full gamut of what I'm going to be working with and have it at my disposal and be able to mix it up and then make the flowers and then work it. Now on this one, I already have all the fabric that I'm going to use. It was, and I have to clarify, it was the North Coat Range Cabbages and Roses for Moda fabrics. So I hope I got that straight. And I looked up online to see if, I Googled to see if it's still even available. I think there was one in an Etsy shop. So if you Googled Cabbages and Roses for Moda, it popped up. And there were a lot of other fabrics in that range, but these were the ones that were my favorites. So I have plenty in my box. I have more horrible Dresden plates to take apart that have these fabrics. And so I can go ahead and start making my flowers because I know I have my stash ready. With this, I want to have all my fabrics in hand before I start making the flowers. So that's the main thing. And then I'm really going to wait this time before I start stitching the flowers together until I have, see, look at the pretty, I just love, when y'all post pictures and you have your flowers all stacked up, I don't know why that just does it for me, but it does. And so it's like, I don't know. And I know some of you count how many hexies you've done, and I'm all about numbers, and I love the, I count things, and I like to see how many I have, and I'm just crazy over this pink one. But look at that. See, that just lets me know, okay, that's progress, as opposed to this. Okay, that's a start. But I love seeing it build. I love seeing a box full of little hexies, and I have mapped out a few more of these. So I think I'm just going to use little clothespins instead of the other clips. I have loved having these little pieces available from the advent calendar that Nikki Franklin had. Homespun with Love. I just love the little tiny pin cushion. It's just right to hold several of these little needles. And then this, y'all, I'm afraid really old Bear is going to snatch these things and put them in her little hamper, her sewing hamper. But I love having just a handy little set to carry with me upstairs, downstairs, back and forth. The other thing I was going to tell you that was so sweet, so many have said, you've just been so sweet to say that my voice is soothing to you. And I just have to tell you, when I was growing up, I was mortified to ever hear my voice on a recording because I had been teased unmercifully in elementary school. I was called Squeaky. That was my nickname. And so I never wanted to speak in public. I never wanted to be recorded. And I just, I hated that. And so for you all to say that my voice is soothing, it's just such irony to me, because I didn't ever want to hear my voice, but I'm hoping that it brings some calm to you. I feel like I come from a place now, even though my day has been crazy and hectic at school, and I've been I had to do 2 Zoom lessons, where we still have a few of our students that are virtual. And so I'm having to speak out over, the students that are in the classroom and the students that are on the little iPad. And it's tiring, quite exhausting. So when I come here and I'm surrounded by the things that I love, the calming things, my little dollhouse, my sewing, my stitching, my little mousies, it brings calm. And if I can relay that to you where you are, then that makes my world. So I'm not going to stay on here long, because I'm going to have to go blow dry this hair and be ready for school tomorrow. I came up here to get my spinning wheel so that I can share it with my students at school tomorrow who have never seen one. They didn't know what one was. And we're reading the story The Mitten by Jan Brett. So I wanted them to see where the wool is spun and how that works. So I'm going to go get my things ready for my school day tomorrow, and I hope you all have a good rest of your evening, or maybe you're in another part of the world and you're just waking up, or it's the middle of the night and you'll see this in the morning. I'm hoping you'll have some peaceful times where you are. And take care, friends, until next time.